Okay, wonderful. It appears that we're live. So committee members, as we haven't had a licensing tribunal hearing just yet, we do need to select a chair. I was wondering if one of you could please put your name forward.
I'm comfortable to chair. I don't know how my colleagues feel about it.
Fine.
And Councillor Gazzola, are you okay if Councillor Marsh chairs today?
You're muted, Councillor Gazzola.
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you. Sorry about that.
No problem. Is your camera off on purpose or just...
It's off on purpose. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
I'm trying to wake up here.
No problem. Okay.
I'll be on in a minute, but just...
No pressure. All right. So, Madam Clerk, should I just jump in?
Yes, please. I'm going to turn the hearing over to you, and I will jump in as required if you need anything from me.
I'm sure we'll need you lots. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I'd like to just explain the reasons for this hearing, under what authority and process to be followed. So this is a meeting of the Licensing Tribunal, and it's being called to hear and consider submissions to determine whether or not to revoke a lodging house license to Anne Hamilton, operating at 249 Duke Street East, Kitchener, Ontario, pursuant to Chapter 533 about lodging houses. And that's of the City of Kitchener Municipal Code. Today's members of the tribunal are Councillor Christine Michaud, Councillor John Gazzola, and myself. And then we also are being supported by Diana Saunderson, Committee Administrator. And we are also in attendance from the City of Kitchener is Helen Flactu, Manager of Licensing, and Erin Mock, Associate City Solicitor to the Tribunal. I'm just going to go through a few procedures. And so, first of all, the hearing is a formal process where those giving evidence will be sworn or affirmed before they do so. City staff will be asked to present their submission, call their witnesses, and offer evidence first. So then once they have finished, the licensee or their counsel or agent may cross-examine the witnesses. The licensee will then be given an opportunity to present its submission, call witnesses, and offer evidence, following which city staff may cross-examine the witnesses. Now, both sides will be asked to provide summations, after which the committee members will adjourn to discuss the submissions and will either reserve its decision or render a decision orally today. The Licensing Tribunal, under the authority of the Municipal Act 2001, has the following options to recommend to Council with respect to the lodging house license. The first option is the applicant may be granted the license, or the second one is the granting the license with conditions, or suspending the license, or denying the license. Upon conclusion of this hearing, the tribunal shall, and as soon as practicable, practicable, make a written report to City Council summarizing the evidence and arguments presented, the findings of the facts made by the tribunal, and the recommendations, if any, with reasons to be considered by Council. So in other words, today's decision will not be final. It will need to be ratified by Council. Please be advised that the hearing shall be open to the public except where the tribunal is of the opinion that matters involving public security may be disclosed, or intimate financial or personal matters or other matters may be disclosed at the hearing of such a nature, having regard to the circumstances, that the desirability of avoiding disclosure thereof in the interest of any person affected or in the public interest outweighs the desirability of adhering to the principle that hearings may be open to the public. All right, so let's begin this process by calling on city staff to discuss the applicant's request for an adjournment. The committee will need to determine whether to grant the requested adjournment. And this adjournment request was circulated to the committee via email, including a response from Aaron Mock, Associate City Solicitor, related to the adjournment request. Pending the committee's decision on the adjournment, we will determine if the witnesses are, if we will proceed or not. Okay. Over to you, staff.
Good morning. My name is Aaron Mock, and I am the Associate City Solicitor for the City of Kitchener. I understand that Mr. Ellis had requested an adjournment, and he did so via a letter to me, via email, and I wrote a response, which the committee also has, and that response was dated June 16th, 2021. I would like the committee to consider both letters before them. And I'm not sure if Mr. Ellis would like to make any oral motion or oral adjournment requests.
Yes, I would. Thank you, your members. I'd like to make the request for an application under pursuant to Rule 7.4, requesting an adjournment from today. The application is based on the following facts. Ms. Tamber was first notified in respect to this hearing on the 26th of June by Helen, and I apologize if I say the last name incorrectly, Falactau, but received the actual hearing notice on June 1st. The hearing notice, which the members have, discloses nothing. It just says that there will be a hearing. I was retained by Ms. Tamber in respect to this matter on the 26th of May, which we produced my contact information for all documents to come through me. In respect to this hearing, the disclosure was produced to me on June 10th, 11 days ago. I had requested the disclosure of the documents 3 times in the first 2 weeks of June, in which so that I could find why the city was attempting to revoke my client's license. I received approximately 150 pages of disclosure material through an email link. And upon reviewing that material on the 10th, on the 11th, I sent my request for an adjournment for this hearing. My request for adjournment was the city has provided substantial disclosure and witness will stay statements that in order for the licensee to provide full answers and response will require review and locating of corresponding supporting documentation. Number 2, that upon initial review of the disclosure, the licensee has contacted 2 witnesses that, while are willing to testify at the tribunal, require that they be summoned due to their employment with community social work organizations. And number 3, that upon initial review of the disclosed materials, it may be necessary to further review more summonses and locate more witnesses in response to the allegations made against the licensee. The prejudice to the licensee, it is submitted that if the adjournment is not granted, the licensee will and is unable to provide full answers and responses to the case against her, with which inability potentially results in damage to or loss of livelihood. It is suggested that both this tribunal and the divisional court have held that the party's right to give full answer is fundamental to the concept of procedural fairness, as outlined in the case of Vascaran versus Cooperators General Insurance Company 2020. As well as in a case that is Ontario Ministry of Environment versus Sault Ste. Marie City 2007. I can send my submissions to the board members if they would like it so that they will have all the case law that I am referring to in these cases. I can read the paragraphs if you would like. Otherwise, those are the cases that I want to rely on. I understand that counselor for the city or solicitor for the city, I apologize, states that they're prejudiced by this adjournment request. It is submitted that the city of Kitchener in these proceedings will suffer no prejudice due to the following. Number 1, the matter is proceeding by Zoom, and as such, witnesses do not have to attend to present at this hearing. Number 2, the remedy sought by the city, if granted, would remove the ability of the licensee to carry on business as a licensed lodging house, but will not immediately impact the residents as they are tenants pursuant to the Residential Tenancies Act. And all procedures and applications pursuant to same must be filed and set for hearing subject to the existing delays and backlogs resulting from the pandemic in order to terminate these tenancies and evict them from the subject land and premises. Number 3, the conduct of the tenants alleged as formally forming the basis for the city's refusal to renew the licensee's license is not properly within the control of the licensee, but rather is pursuant to the city's bylaw enforcement and police, which would not be impacted or prejudiced by the requested adjournment. It is submitted. The length of the adjournment request that we are asking for is 2 months. The reason that we're asking for it is A, the licensee gave notice as early as possible in respect to the adjournment with appropriate follow-up to both the request for city's consent and tribunal's position in respect to same. Number 2, the requested length of adjournment is not unreasonable and is consistent with the time necessary to summons witnesses and properly prepare for this hearing. Number 3, this is the first hearing of this matter, which has not delayed a past hearing. Number 4, as indicated herein, the public interest would not be prejudiced as the issues has not been determined, and if the city is successful, the changes in the community would not occur for months until after we can get landlord-tenant hearings in order to evict these tenants. Number 5, the licensee took all reasonable and required actions in proper and timely manner, including obtaining representation in respect to same. It is submitted that the adjournment request made on behalf of the licensee is reasonable and necessary to the proper and just resolution of the matter disputed herein. Those are my submissions, your members.
Okay, thank you very much for your submission. Staff, do you have additional comments on this?
Yes, I do. First of all, disclosure is provided in accordance with the rules. There are rules of procedure for this licensing committee. Again, that was provided in accordance to Rule 3.2 sub 2, and it was sent in the afternoon of June 9th, on which day Mr. Ellis has mentioned that he did receive it on June 10th. In accordance with Rule 3.2
Ms. Mock?
Subsection 3 in his list of.
I'm sorry, Ms. Mock, your internet seems to be lagging. I'm wondering if you could try turning your camera off, if that would help.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, it seems to be cleared up. Thank you.
Better.
Okay.
Okay.
So you were saying that, so just to catch up, so we lost about the last 10 seconds or so, what you were saying.
I was just saying that the city will not consent to such an adjournment request because all city disclosure was provided within the time range specified by Rule 3.2 sub 2. And that was on the afternoon of June 9th, which was at least 10 days before the hearing date on June 21st on today's date. Also, in accordance with Rule 3.2 subsection 3, the window for Mr. Ellis to provide documents to the committee closes 15 days after the notice was given to his client. So the notice, he does accept that the notice was provided to his client on June 1st, 2021. And even within that notice, it said that he had until the morning of the 18th, Friday the 18th, to provide documents to the committee. Subject to that rule, any adjournment will be, decided by the tribunal in accordance with Rule 7.4. In addition to the city's witnesses, we also have several civilian witnesses. And since this issue is one of public interest, these 6 or 7 witnesses made themselves available today. And they may be prejudiced in the sense that they may not be available on a future date.
Okay.
Wait, furthermore, I have one more point. I'm sorry, there was.
No, take your time.
I
Sorry.
think someone just walked up the stairs, excuse me. One moment. I apologize. Sorry, I just lost my train of thought in that moment.
That's fine.
Furthermore, Miss Tamber or Miss Hamilton, I'm not sure how she'd like to be referred to, but I have her as listed as Mrs. Hamilton or Miss Hamilton on the title to the property. Anyways, she received notice from the manager of licensing in February. It was actually, in fact, on February 19th, 2021, when the manager gave her notice that that she was taking steps. And a report to council went in March 8th of 2021 about the steps that were going to be taken and that this hearing was going to be called, and the committee members were chosen on that date. So I believe that Mrs. Hamilton has had lots of time to gather her evidence, subpoena witnesses or summons witnesses to this hearing date that she knew in February was coming. And further, Mr. Ellis may have been retained on May 26th, but I believe that Mr. Ellis has acted for Ms. Hamilton on other matters. And so she does have her legal counsel or her paralegal available to her earlier than this time that he's suggesting that he just found out about it and provided needs to have more time to get his witnesses aligned. Let's see. So I believe those are my submissions, and this is all reiterated in that letter that I provided to the committee.
Okay, thank you very much. So just a quick note about names. Our manager of licensing is Ms. Falaktu. And Mr. Ellis, can you please let us know how your client would like to be called?
Ms. Tamber, please.
Miss or Ms.?
Ms.
Ms. Tamber. Okay, got it. Thanks. We'll do our best, and if people slip up, that's human error, but we'll do our best to keep that consistent. Thank you, Ms. Tamber. And all right, and so I wonder if our tribunal members would like to confer offline for a couple minutes, and then we'll come back. Can we do that?
Yes, we absolutely can. I just wanted to know, you just need to give me a few minutes to put everybody in the waiting room. So if you can just be patient, I will.
Of course.
Yep, I will begin that process for you.
Okay, for the members watching, we will do our best to come back in a timely manner, but you have about, let's say we're going to break until 10:30. So if you need a bio break or need to stretch or whatever, so come back. We're going to re-adjourn at 10:30 or later, depending on if, but no earlier than 10:30. Okay.
For those attendees that are currently in the attendee position, I am going to move you as a panelist and put you on hold. I apologize profusely if Zoom lets me down. You may need to rejoin the link, so we will keep you informed if for some reason your connection is lost.
Mm.